Recently, North by Northeast host Geno Palazzari teamed up with the Campbell County Library to interview Wyoming author Ron Franscell about his recent book and his career as a whole. The following is a small portion of that interview.
And of course, one of the reasons why we're here this evening is his latest book, which is Alice and Gerald, which took place in Wyoming as well. So, Ron, why don't you tell us a bit, I guess beginning, where did the concept come from to write this book?
I was writing another book at the time when the story kind of popped up on my radar. It went to a back burner at that point, and it was very early in the not in the investigation, but after the arrest. And when I finished that book and we launched it, we, as typically happens, I started looking around for the next project. And this one appealed to me, not only because it was Wyoming, and nobody else is really writing this kind of story about Wyoming, but because these were very complex characters.
Yes.
You know, we have a husband and a wife who between them kill 4, probably 5 people, which would make them the deadliest criminals in Wyoming's history. I wasn't very deeply into the research before I realized we were dealing with modern day Macbeth. You know, this sociopathic, narcissistic, manipulative wife who has this desperate husband who'll do anything for her. So it was the kind of complex story that really appealed to me, that's beyond the typical true crime that you see in the supermarket.
And while you were in the process, when did you know that you had something that was this Shakespearean? I know you've already used that, but I've seen it described as Shakespeare on the prairie, Shakespeare in a trailer park.
Shakespeare in a trailer park is my favorite. It wasn't very long. You take a look at these characters and you start to see not only this couple, which is a marriage made in hell, but you see 40 years of investigators trying to connect all these dots. You know, one would take it up for a while and then it would go cold, and another then, and so on. You begin to wonder, is this case going to be closed? Are they going to get justice? Another, probably the character that sealed the deal for me, might be me. Probably the character that sealed the deal for me was the mother of one of the victims, happened to be also the grandmother of the 2 little boys. She became the moral center of this story because she didn't let it die. For 40 years, she didn't let it die. So I think when I looked at the cast of characters and the opportunities to tell a deeper story than we typically see in true crime, and for it to be about Wyoming in a time that I understood pretty well, because I was there, I was living it. It was a no-brainer.
With Darkest Night, with Alice and Gerald, you also had access to the murderers.
Yes.
The people that perpetrated the crimes.
Yes.
Just simple question. What was that like? I've realized as a journalist, you've talked to people that have done many different things, positive, negative, but these are 2 of the most horrific crimes in Wyoming's history.
I would argue, certainly in modern times, minus Little Miss probably, or Matthew Shepard. They're certainly 2 of the most heinous. Again, the journalism tells me that I have to talk to them. I have to at least give them the chance to speak to me, because their perspective is important. I can't imagine writing a book that was from the perspective of only the prosecutor or only the cop. There are different sides. In both of these cases, the different sides, the sides of the killers were very educational. They gave us extraordinary glimpses inside the sociopathic mind. That they chose to use their moment with me to fabricate stories or to fantasize about things. That was their choice. But I gave them the chance to speak to me and to have their story amplified to the world. That they chose something else is really on them, not on me. But yeah, it's interesting. I've never gone into a prison and talked to a killer that I wasn't being played. I've just gotten better at playing them back. Knowing what they're going to do to me and knowing their psychology helps me form my strategy for talking to them. Gerald, in this case, is a great example. I knew he carried a real Jones about the cops and the prosecutors. And so I went in and badmouthed cops and prosecutors until we were best friends. That's the reality of it, is that he thinks we're best friends. If we look over here on the table, and you're all welcome to come up here, but I think on either end of the table here are two paintings that Gerald sent to me. Gerald was a Bob Ross certified painting instructor. I didn't believe him when he told me that, but I checked, and he really was. And then I told them, did you know you have a triple killer on your faculty? They were a little surprised. But on either end there are two paintings that Gerald sent to me. I would normally send them back as a violation of journalistic ethics. I'm not supposed to take gifts from people that I'm reporting about. But because the three victims that he confessed to killing have never been found, I began to think that maybe these paintings contained clues about where they are. Something that means a lot to me, that I wish I could be part of bringing some closure to that. The sad part is that there's no family still waiting for them, but I believe it's an ending we didn't get. So those two paintings sit on the shelf above my writing desk, where every day I have to see them, and I'm hoping every day to see something in them that's a clue, that will tell us something. I haven't yet, and I would invite everybody to come up and look at them and handle them if you care to, and see if you can see something. But as far as, I think that's my mistrust, thinking he wouldn't send me a gift. That there had to be something to it. So that's part of my cynicism too, going back to the deadline, I guess. But it's a different experience, and I wouldn't recommend it for normal people, only for abnormal professionals like me.
Do you believe him?
No.
Where he said that he dumped the bodies?
I'm looking to see if there are any children in the audience. No, I don't.
For the full interview, check out our website at gillettewy.gov/GPA or our YouTube channel.